What's up out there? I have two builds to discuss in this video. These are builds we've looked at before, but I've made, let's call it significant changes to them. They are no longer what they used to be. This first one was my Pyroclast Miner. You will notice that it is now swapped over to an Exsanguinate Mine build. This is not anywhere close to final form. It is like nowhere near optimized or anything like that. So I know it probably doesn't have enough life. I know it probably doesn't have, like if you look at the sockets on it, like I've got a lot of empty sockets and stuff. There's not really anything set in stone with this build. Pretty much what happened was I was sitting there with the Pyroclast Mine and I happened to think of a comment somebody left on when I did a video for one of the different Exsanguinate builds that I did, maybe the Exsanguinate Juggernaut, I'm not sure. But I've done multiple versions of Exsanguinate. And on one of the videos that I did, somebody left a comment that said, wait until this guy figures out Exsanguinate Mines. So here we are with Exsanguinate Mines. I took my Pyroclast Mine build and kind of reworked it a little bit to incorporate this. And I was just sitting there one day, I was thinking about this, and I'm like, you know what? I've never actually looked at Exsanguinate Mines, and I thought, let me see what this looks like as an actual build. So I went on a PoE Ninja and I started looking up what other people were doing with their builds for Exsanguinate Mine. There's not a whole lot of them out there, but basically they all kind of looked about the same. So it looked like they might have all been following the same build guide or something like that. I didn't really do a terribly deep dive into each build and, just try to figure out, like I didn't go and rework my passive tree or anything for it. I kind of took the path of least resistance and pretty much just changed what I needed to get it from Pyroclast Mine, elemental damage and stuff like that, over to Exsanguinate. So up in the physical damage, stuff like that. It's just kind of that realm. I didn't spend a whole lot of time tinkering with it. I just proof of concept. What's it look like? How's it feel? Things like that. That's kind of where we're at with this whole build. So it is nowhere near finished. And I know it's like there's giant gaping holes in this build. I'm not too concerned with that. I'm more interested in just trying the skill out and seeing how it works and just getting a basic understanding on how it ran. I haven't spent hardly any time with this build. Like, it's totally work in progress. So don't look at this as like a final build or a guide or anything, any way, shape, or form. It's just more of a acknowledgement that, hey, I did finally try Exsanguinate in a mining build. So I did not understand how Exsanguinate worked in a mine. As a mine, I was anticipating something like, say, cast when damage taken, or cast when stunned, or what's the bow thing? Where it copies whatever you've got. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head, but there's a bow, Mana Forged Arrows. I was thinking it was something like that, where basically what you would do is use one skill in your 6th link to summon the other skill. That's or cast the other skill or call it. I didn't realize you could just use Exsanguinate as a mine. So I was looking at those builds and I was trying to figure out how they were getting away with Exsanguinate in there. And then I finally I started reading through, like I'm looking at PoE Ninja. I'm not looking at a build guide. So you have to kind of go through and look at all the different support gems and stuff. And I noticed on this one, high impact mine supports spells or attacks that use bows or wands. Instead of using that skill, you will throw a mine that will use the skill for you when you detonate it. So this thing just straight up converts a spell or attack for a bow or wand skill into this. And I thought that was really cool. So I tried it out and tinkered with it, and I ended up, that's why I've got Exsanguinate working with it. So like I said, this is more of a proof of concept. It's not anywhere close to a final build. I noticed that most of the ones, all the ones I was looking at used Heat Shiver, so I threw this on there. It's something to do with the chill effect you get off of this, and I think you can add like cold damage or something in here. But this is no way, shape, or form optimized. I basically took my level 78 or 80, whatever it was when I swapped over. I think it was like 75, 78. Pretty much whatever the last video I did for Pyroclast Mine, I ended up swapping over to this right after that and checking it out. I kind of dig it. What I'm more intrigued about beyond the Exsanguinate part is what you can do with like a bow skill or a different spell like Fireball or Firestorm or something like that. I kind of want to just start tinkering around with different skills and see what they all do and just to see how they operate. That's why this is kind of bare bones. I was just kind of wanting to tinker with it. And on the passive side, I don't think I changed anything. I might have pulled out of, well, I think I pulled out of this side with fire damage and Snowforge, and I need to go back around to pick this up so I get the cold side of it for this. But basically, I didn't really change a whole lot because this is pretty much all the mines and stuff picked up anyway. So there wasn't a whole lot to change on this to swap it over, just swapping out some gems and maybe some colors on the sockets or anything. But at any rate, I wanted to mention this because I remember somebody put on one of my videos that wait until he finds that Exsanguinate mine build. And I actually looked into it and I was curious how it actually worked. And so I've got it set up. It's proof of concept, just nothing more than to just tinker with it and see how it goes. So that is an Exsanguinate mine build that's just kind of thrown in there. Like I said, I want to tinker with some other stuff, but we got another build to look at, so let's swap over to that one. So this is the old Bleed Gladiator. I just joined the same map. He's pretty much the same level as that build we just looked at. This is the Bleed Gladiator that I was looking at for a while. It is no longer a Bleed Gladiator. This is now... what are we running here? We are running Earthshatter of Fragility. So I swapped this over from Bleed Gladiator to pretty much shield-based. We've got Determined Survivor, More Than Skill, War of Attrition, and Weapon Master. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to take Measured Retaliation because I do have a Retaliation skill, or Gratuitous Violence, or Weapon Master. And I ended up going on this side of the Ascendancy part, but... basically, I ripped out everything that was bleed based and came over to... I worked on Perforate for a long time just to check that out. And I was really digging Perforate. I like the skill. It's definitely got... I don't know. I'm still... I just haven't quite figured out how to make it really feel good. And I'm sure that's why it's probably not used for other people as well. I mean, it only makes sense if it's not getting used. There's a reason for it, but I wanted to tinker with it and give it some time, so I did, and that's kind of where we're at now. Is I've spent a lot of time with Perforate on this, and then I sat there and thought about it. I was like, you know what? Let's see what my see if we can take this thing down. I thought, you know what? Let's see what my Transfigured gems look like. I wanted to see what I had, so I can drop that thing. This thing's not dying. We'll get out of here. So. I started looking at all the various Transfigured gems, and I started looking up exactly what Perforate was, which is a slam skill. Are we already down here? Oh yeah, I guess because I cleared that other stuff out with the other build. But at any rate, I was looking at that as a slam skill, and pretty much what I had for this, swapping it from bleed over to shield, I ended up putting an Aegis Aurora on here, and because the Aegis Aurora was using armor and energy shield, I decided to put the fourth vow in here. I've had this fourth vow, and I've had it socketed, or six linked, I should say, for a while now. I just haven't figured out what to put it in, and then I saw the Aegis Aurora was armor energy shield, so I thought, you know what, this is also armor energy shield. My gloves, boots, and helmet are still armor and evasion, so I may change those out. I'm not entirely sure of it. On this side of the passive tree, there's not really anything over here for like leech for energy shield. So I don't know that this is the best way to go. It might be better coming off this side or something like that as something over there. I'm not sure. But I'm on this side. I'm working with this. I wanted to do the shield stuff. So that's kind of why we're in this realm. It's probably not in any way, shape, or form optimized. See the comments about the last one. This is a little bit more developed. I played this a lot longer, so I've got a little bit better idea where I want to go with it, but it's still not anywhere close to perfect. So don't take this as like a build guide or anything like that. Like, I'm not saying this is finished in any way, shape, or form. We're only on level 80. I definitely need to bring my life up. I actually brought my life down, which we'll talk about here in a second, but I am running Auto Exertion with Intimidating Cry and Seismic Cry. This is a slam skill, and I'm also running Earthshatter of Fragility. I swapped over from Perforate over to this, and the sockets, the supporting sockets with Melee Fizz, Brutality, Cruelty, Pulverize, and Life Tap were the same. I just resocketed this in. I tried various different Transfigured gems that were all slam skills. I just came in here, punched in slam. I looked at like Earthquake of Amplification, Earthshatter of Prominence, Tech Slam of Cataclysm, Volcanic Fissure of Snaking, and Ground Slam of Earthshaking. But out of all of those, the Earthshatter of Fragility actually felt really good with this specific setup. So that's what I went with and just swapped it out. It was better than Perforate. The DPS went up and it was just all around better than Perforate. So I've got that. Again, it's not optimized. We've got Flame Dash, Vulnerability, more duration, and Life Tap. If I could get a curse with vulnerability on hit ring, I will ditch this gem. I'd like to because I don't want to have to keep casting that manually. We're also running Vitality, Purity of Elements, Precision, Blood, and Sand. The Blood and Sand was actually key on the Perforate build because you get a massive AoE with the Sand part, but on the Blood part, it concentrated down. It would like more of a concentrated effect type of thing. So I was swapping back and forth with this particular skill. I'm not swapping back and forth that much, so I could probably swap that out for something else, but it does give you a little bit more damage. And then we've got Molten Shell, Phase Run, and Automation. I kind of like that combination. Over here, we've got Crushing Fist, Pulverize, Brutality, and Life Tap. I might invest more into these retaliation skills and pick I could swap some of this other stuff out. I don't know what, but I could probably swap some things out. We've got Flame Dash and Vulnerability. I could maybe swap some of this out for, I don't know, another retaliation skill or something like that. This works well because you're going to block a lot. The way I've got this set up, we're maxed out with, I didn't realize there was a cap on it, but we're a chance to block at 78%. So it's max cap. I think I can raise that a little bit. I haven't really dove that far into it, but it did get me to thinking that combined with this over here, this measured retaliation, if I spec'd more into retaliation skills and actually put like one in my gloves, one in my boots, I could alternate back and forth with the two. I would just have to rework some things, which I haven't quite gotten there yet. On the passive side of things, so I basically took my Bleed Gladiator and everything that I had into Bleed, which is like Master of Wounds and Bloodletting and stuff like that. I backed all of that out and then just started spending it into other places. And I happened to think at one point, hey, we're over here in the neighborhood of Precise Technique. I actually came over to pick up Entrench for spell suppression. This is what we do in the old Bone Shatter build that I used to follow. Would come over here, pick up Entrench, Weathered Hunter, stuff like that. And I ended up grabbing Precise Technique. I was like, you know what? I haven't used that for a while, so I thought I'd try it out. And I actually had to reduce my life. When I first took this, I did not have enough accuracy to get over my life. So I had to reduce my life down to meet it. I now have like 4,000 accuracy, 4028. So I will be able to pull my life up a little bit. I backed out of like Bloodless over here so I could pick that up. And then picked up like Eagle Eye. We've got Weathered Hunter. And I don't remember if I had any other accuracy on here, but I ended up picking up a bunch of accuracy, well, up here too with versatility. But I did it back out of like Born to Fight, and I ended up reusing points from wherever that health, Bloodless and stuff like that. I had to actually, like I said, reduce my health so that I could get under the accuracy and use that 40% increased damage. So this is kind of experimenting around with a couple of different things. First and foremost, well, a few different things actually. We're trying out shield blocking and stuff like that, a little bit with retaliation skills, more heavily into retaliation skills, more into blocking. I've never used a fourth vow before, so I'm kind of tinkering around with the fourth vow and seeing how that goes. This might pair better with something over off on the shadow side of the tree, far better since all the energy shield stuff's up there, like Leech and everything. So I might actually try to rebuild this over there or something. I don't know, or use this armor and shield combination up there. Again, I'm not sure what to do with the gloves, helmet, and boot, whether I leave those here or change them to armor and energy shield. But I don't know, I was kind of tinkering around with this. I actually spent some time working on it and adjusting things. That's why you see all the sockets filled, and things are a little more progressed than that last build we looked at, but made a lot of changes to it and took the build that I did have and just morphed it over into this to kind of tinker around with like shields and stuff like that. And that's where I've been with these couple of builds. So that is going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.